Welcome to the Talk with T Renee. Today's topic is going to be about depression. I have my wonderful guest, Emon, whose name means faith. I love that. Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I'm your host, T Renee. I am a part of a wonderful documentary, and it's called Face of Darkness. And I just want to read a little bit of an excerpt about what the documentary is really about. Face of Darkness documents the experience of the mental health epidemic affecting Black community over the last 20 years. You were so giving, totally giving, and you were talking about your experience dealing with depression. And I guess my first question for you is, when did that depression happen? Did it start at childhood? If you can remember back to some earlier episodes.
It started at the age of 7 when I got raped, and then it just progressed. The molestation came from a family member. Well, it wasn't really my family member. It was a part of my stepmother's family, and it really dug deep into me where I had to just put that side away from her. And it happened over from 7 to I want to say 12 or 13, and it reoccurred every time the person came to my dad's house. And that's where I really felt like my life was over. Because I was one of those, you always hear those things that, don't let anybody touch you, and it happened to me. So I already started feeling at a young age that my life was already destined for failure.
Did that come to the light about you being molested and raped? Did your parents know?
I didn't tell my mother until I came out to her, which was about 17, because being touched in that way for so long, I learned how to hide that type of emotion away from everybody. But that comes out of sacrifice, because you change on the inside and the outside. And everybody felt like I had a huge attitude problem, which I did. I had issues with people telling me what to do or speaking to me in a above the normal level, and I will always snap back at people. So my mom was like, "What's wrong with you? You're not the son I know." Da, da, da. So I had to tell her, and telling her that, it just enraged her. But I asked her, it's already happened. There's no sense to go back. And what are you gonna do? Get arrested for it? So she did the best to sweep it under the rug, but it still kind of nicks at me every so often.
Absolutely, you went through something. So you were taken advantage of. Let me ask you. So, are you getting therapy for it now? How are you dealing with it now?
I'm not getting therapy. I'm dealing with it. I've been dealt with that part. I'm still chucking away at the other levels of depression I have now, but it gets better day by day. It does get better, and I have to say that, it's due to my faith and my belief in God that, I'm able to get this far, because if it was anybody else, they would have gave up.
Absolutely. You said something really important, which we'll talk to the experts later on. There were some symptoms, and I want to be clear. When you said you came out, does that mean that you're a gay man?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you said that things were happening different. You were angry. Nobody could tell you what to do. I'm glad that you said that, because we need to know what that looks like. Because are you saying that your personality changed because of being molested and raped?
Keeping that secret and the level of that type of magnitude of secret that you're keeping from anybody else, my mom is my everything. I usually tell her everything. But when I moved to my dad's house, there were certain things that was happening that I knew it would be better not to disclose the information to my mom, because she's the type of mom that she will go to bat for me. I'm her only son, so she's going to fight. So I decided not to tell her that, and that level, it just got to me. It was such a heavy burden not telling her, one, that I may be gay, and then that the fact that a cousin raped me for 5 years. And it changed me. I was angry. I was sad. I felt like I was nothing. And coming from the back, I'm half black, half Dominican. My dad is from Hispanic culture. Moving from where my mom was an African American mom to over there, the culture is so different. I felt so out of the norm. I was already the black sheep. So being that everything else had happened, I was losing control of my own self. I lost who I was, and I'm still trying to get that person back. That's the hard part about it.
And I can appreciate that. As I look at you, you're so handsome. And and I say that because number one, you are so handsome, and number two, you were saying, and we're not going to go into a lot because that's for the documentary, but you were talking about different partners and how it was so hard. Is it hard? Is that another layer because you are a gay man? That, in other words, I guess what I'm saying is, do you think it would have been easier if you hadn't had the initial of being molested? Do you think that it has anything to do with another layer of the depression and having to come out? Those two working together is like one more thing that I have to tell people about.
To be honest, I really don't talk about the molestation. That's something, that I've kept under the wraps for so long. The only people that do know is like, my mom, my sister, and of course everybody else that would be seeing this show in the documentary. But being gay, being black, and also suffering the depression, it's just like a stereotype that America keeps all together. Or if you're gay, you must have been molested. Or if you're black, you must be. It's just a whole lot to deal with, and it really just. I just want to stay in my shell sometimes because showing the world who I am, you constantly get knocked down. I already get enough for being overweight. And I didn't get overweight overnight because this all happened because I was suffering from depression. My dad owned like a grocery store. So my coping mechanism for being touched, being bullied, being raped, and being brokenhearted was to eat. I had a lust for food that would make me feel better instantly.
Me too.
So, so if anytime the wind blows the way you don't like it to, you're going to run to the instant thing that makes you feel better. And that was my biggest coping mechanism that I'm breaking till this day because I can't allow that same track of mindset where food will make me feel better. I have to make myself feel better.
Absolutely. And because I'm learning from you too. I was not molested, but for some reason, I also was using food as a coping mechanism. But what can we do now? Because I want to end this on a positive note. You talked about your faith in God and that your mother, thank God for her, she loves you and she loves you the way you are now. What can we do now to start to heal? Everybody out there, me, you, and it's not going to be overnight, like you said. It's not going to be overnight. But what can we do?
What I've been doing is I listen to music. I try to inspire myself, encourage myself. I used to tell kids that I saw going through it, why don't you wake up every morning, look in the mirror, and say, this is me. I am beautiful, and I love me. If you say it over and over to yourself, you begin to believe it. I don't need nobody else to validate me. I can validate myself. So from now on, I'm trying to put positive thoughts in my mind where, you know what, you're big, but you put it off very well. You are a handsome big dude, so there's no matter what, let somebody call you fat. That's all they got on you. That's the only flaw you can pick up. I'm fat, okay, yeah, so what? But you can't tell me I'm ugly. You can't tell me
No, because you're handsome.
Thank you. You can't tell me I'm not smart. You can't tell me I'm not talented because all these things I am. The only thing you can tell me is that I'm fat.
And not only that, I want to end on saying that you are very handsome and you're beautiful the way that you are. And I thank you so much for sharing it with me. I really do. Okay. It's T Renee Mathis, the Talk with T Renee.